Cricket is where we start this Friday edition of the SportsMax Zone as border tensions rise between India and Pakistan. The Board of Control for Cricket in India, the BCCI, suspended the IPL with immediate effect for 1 week. On Thursday, match 58 between Punjab Kings and Delhi Capitals was abandoned due to what the BCCI called serious technical issues when a floodlight malfunctioned before reports surfaced later that match 58 would be relocated to Delhi. But with increased threats to security and airports closing at a rapid pace, the BCCI has made the move to suspend the tournament following a meeting with stakeholders. Teams have already been informed and some players and officials have arranged to leave India, while Cricket West Indies have confirmed to our team that the Caribbean players are all safe and they are in contact with relocation plans. All right, Fazir Mohammed joins us now to discuss this matter. Faz, welcome back to the show. Of course, we started this discussion yesterday. Tensions continue to rise in this conflict between India and Pakistan. First one for me, though, Faz, given everything that happened overnight since we last spoke, and put in an influential position, would you be saying to players and their families and officials, hey, listen, get out of India as quickly as possible?
I suppose it's depending on how you phrase it. You don't want to create panic as well. But yes, I think it's imperative that the authorities be seen to be ensuring the safety of players, and especially those players who are international players and their families and they want to leave. You want to ensure that that is being done. Whether or not it has accelerated or degenerated to the level where you want to get everyone out who's not a citizen of the nation of India to leave immediately, or for Pakistan as well, because let's not forget, it's not just the IPL, but the PSL. After initially announcing yesterday that they were shifting to the UAE, it has been suspended with immediate effect with no indication as to when they will resume. So yes, it's really important that the authorities on both sides of that border ensure the safety, the well-being of those international cricketers, the West Indians included, of course. And again, it's not so much saying that we want to get you out immediately, but ensuring that all is being done to make those players feel comfortable as they make their way out of the country.
Yeah, Faz, the fact that both competitions, the IPL and the Pakistan Super League, have been suspended with immediate effect, should we use that as a mark of how serious things have gotten over the last 24 to 48 hours?
Absolutely, because we know in that part of the world, cricket is king. Cricket is number one. In fact, many people have accused authorities of being callous and recognizing that cricket means so much to so many people in that part of the world, that sometimes cricket is played even after a tragedy is going on somewhere else, a flood, a drought, some sort of rivalry, some sort of violence, some sort of sectarian violence, and the game goes on. The fact that they have suspended the IPL, the fact that they have suspended the PSL almost indefinitely tells you how serious this is. And if you follow a lot of the international news coverage, they're talking about the fact that in this modern era, with the use of drones as part of warfare, and this is happening in both India and Pakistan right now, it makes it a very dangerous environment for anyone who doesn't need to be there to be in. So clearly, it's a very serious situation, as serious as it has been probably at any time in the last 25 years.
Yeah, and Faz, how do you reconcile the IPL organizers saying that we're suspending for 1 week against the fact that already international players are leaving or making plans to leave?
And we talked about it yesterday, about contingencies. I suppose the Indian authorities don't want to just call it off immediately. They're probably hoping for the best, and yes, the international players will leave. Some may not want to come back, so the changes and adjustments will have to be done to the various squads. But that is almost an irrelevance at this time. So therefore, it's probably just saying, look, we're going to give it a week. It might be that it might never restart. It might be that it restarts in September if they can find a window for it. I don't think they wanted to call it off immediately because, again, let's not forget that the Indian Premier League is the richest cricket tournament, the richest annual cricket tournament in the world. And there's a lot of stake financially. There's a lot of stake for fans of the tournament who've been following it closely with just 12 matches to go to the playoffs. But again, as we said yesterday, safety is paramount and cannot be compromised.
Yeah, and Faz, I think I'm just going to continue on the point that you were making about, you know, the love that Indians have for cricket and the fact that it takes precedence when it comes to many issues that are happening in the country. Once cricket is being played, you know, it continues. So many a times, you know, we as journalists or analysts, we sit here and we talk about organizations and just the manner in which they handle certain situations. Sometimes they act too slow. But in this instance, are you impressed with how the BCCI, how swiftly they've moved to, of course, ensure that the players are safe?
Yes, and they had to. You can't be seen. And again, let's not forget, this is not just the BCCI, but it's the PCB as well. You have to be able to respond swiftly because we're talking about safety. We're talking about two nuclear-armed nations on the verge of an all-out confrontation. And that is not something that you treat lightly. And therefore, it's imperative that the authorities be seen to be and actually get things done in a way expeditiously, efficiently, with compassion, with concern for the international players, their families, but also the Indian players and their families, because again, it's about human lives we're talking about, and therefore, for the authorities to respond as swiftly as they did, I don't think they had a choice, because they would have been condemned roundly on both sides of the border if they were to be seen to be hesitating and hoping for the best and waiting and wondering, because that would have been seen to be extremely callous and uncaring in the face of what could be a real all-out confrontation.
Yes, and you spoke about the human nature. I said at the top of the show, this situation is frightening because lives are involved and there's nothing more precious than life, and I genuinely believe that. But you know, if we were to just put that aside just for a brief moment and talk a bit about Faz, because you're in the broadcast world as well, so you understand how TV land works and how competitions and tournaments work. So, you know, because we also air the IPL on the channel, and I'm still thinking, despite all of this happening, you know, what does this mean for the IPL as well? Yes, they're going on a pause. They're hoping for a week, but then there's also the discussion that it could restart in September. But let's just say, Faz, it doesn't restart. Like, there's going to be a lot of losses when it comes to the competition on a whole.
There's going to be a lot of loss, and a lot of these things are factored in to broadcast contracts as to whether unforeseen events or acts of God, as they might sometimes be referred to, or uprisings and so on happen. How do you deal with that? And therefore, it's about compensation. And yes, they won't make much about it openly right now because it comes across as very callous in the face of a situation where, as you said correctly, life and limb are paramount. But behind the scenes, those who are, as we use the term, the bean counters, the one who are checking profits and losses, will be assessing what is the risk here, what are the realities, how much is this going to cost, what is the level of compensation, what is the insurance coverage for any situation like this. Because again, with all this money at stake, with all of this revenue at stake, people are not just going to say, well, you know what, we just abandon the thing and we hope to restart next year. It doesn't work that way because too much money is involved. Sponsors, investors, partners, the BCCI are now partnering with the 100 in England, and we're talking hundreds of billions of dollars which will be floating around here, and therefore at the end of the day they're going to have to work out some sort of arrangement depending on how the tournament goes, whether it restarts or doesn't, as to the financial ramifications of this situation.
Yeah, and Faz, I've heard you in the past couple of minutes emphasize the fact that the BCCI has to tread carefully here because they have to align themselves with the best decisions for the nation and not just cricket, which is what they are in charge of. But as they look beyond or look to the possibilities of what's facing them here, in the past we've seen tournaments like the CPL have discussions with the BCCI, especially in the COVID years. I think in that particular year there was a slight shift in the CPL dates to accommodate the restart of the IPL. So it's not uncommon for the IPL organizers to have discussions with other big franchises regarding scheduling. That may be a possibility if it is that they're going to reschedule for August or September, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. And I don't think it's a discussion, Lance. Let's be real. If it were to be that the IPL is suspended now and resumes sometime in August, September, there's no discussion. The BCCI will tell Cricket West Indies, the IPL resumes X date, finishes Y date, you adjust your business to suit, because it's money. And therefore, all of the players involved, yes, they'll say how they love the CPL and they love playing in the Caribbean and whatever, but they want to stay involved with the IPL, not just for the money, but they want to stay on the good side of the BCCI. So if that would happen, it's going to be a potential headache for the CPL. We may be getting too far ahead of ourselves, but I'm sure those involved with the Caribbean Premier League will be looking at this thing very closely and very nervously as well to see if there could be ramifications for the CPL later down the line.
Yeah, and we can't forget too fast that the CPL now has new owners. These would not be the same owners that had dialogued with the BCCI and the IPL organizers during the COVID years when there was that discussion.
Exactly. And again, because though, and this might be a plus, that a lot of the franchises of the CPL are owned by Indian franchises, could make it that bit easier, because it's basically a streamlining what we see going on right now. Indian ownership of the South African T20, of the international tournament in the United States, and many other places, and again, significant ownership in the Caribbean. So even if there might be new owners, the fact that they are aligned or are the Indian franchises themselves should make it easier to do whatever adjustments that may be necessary down the road.
Yeah, and Faz, what does your gut feeling tell you about this board attention regarding the immediate future? Do you think things will get better, or do you think there's a likely escalation and more problems in the coming week?
It's always a difficult thing to predict how these things will go, but even if there is an escalation, you have to look at it on both sides. You've got India, led by Narendra Singh Modi and the BJP, which is a nationalist party. And therefore, it's not about being seen to be giving ground at all to Pakistan. You may recall when there was another skirmish in the Kashmir region, India went out onto the field a few years ago for a one-day international wearing caps that had army fatigues rather than the traditional Indian colors. They got away scot-free because, again, the ICC doesn't have the testicular fortitude to want to sanction India. But you got the message that it's about aligning with the Indian army, aligning with the Indian people against what is seen as an ideological foe. On the other side, you've got Pakistan, who seem to be in perpetual turmoil politically. Imran Khan is in jail. His wife is in jail. The charges are believed to be trumped up because of politics. And you've got a situation where in Pakistan, the military holds tremendous sway. Whether they are ruling the country, like General Zia-ul-Haq or Pervez Musharraf, they are still in the background there pulling the strings. And again, it's about that defining place called the Kashmir, with both countries claiming, which is predominantly Muslim, but neither side wants to be seen to be taking a backward step in a situation like this. So it may stay with a level of tension for quite some time. Hopefully it doesn't escalate, but I don't see any significant de-escalation at this point, Lance, because that would mean one side backing down, and no one wants to back down.
Yeah, and that's the frightening thing about this situation, Faz. We'll leave it there for today. Of course, we'll watch what happens over the weekend, and then quite likely we'll be chatting again on Monday. Have a great weekend, Faz.
Take care. You too.
All right, let's go to a break on the SportsMax Zone. So much more to come. We'll be back.